How's it going, everybody? My name is AJ Thompson, and I'm Vice President of Cloud-Driven Solutions. So we are the makers of AgendaLink and AgendaLink Solo. They are a cloud-native agenda and meeting management solution available to AV system integrators across the United States. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can utilize our software that is cloud-native and web-based to control your customer's AV equipment that is in a room, right? So utilizing our software, you can control aspects of an AV system like microphones and video switching and broadcast, really ultimately whatever you want. So I'm going to go through step by step how that's set up. I'll be doing in this demonstration utilizing a Crestron system. So I'll show you how to put in our Crestron module into a program and then kind of how that all works. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll get started. Okay, so for the first part of this, we're gonna go ahead and get things set up in AgendaLink Solo. So the first step is to log into your customer's AgendaLink Solo, which you should have the address for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into Solo Management, and I'm just gonna log in. This is our little test server. And I'm gonna go to the options section. And inside of options, we have this AV. So I click AV. That's going to present you with this toggle for audio video system link. Essentially what that means is once you turn this on, our software is now going to attempt to communicate with an audio video control system. That audio video control system can be any control system you want. We are using a standard TCP connection, and that way you can use whatever you want. In this instance, we're using a Crestron module, so it's all built inside of it for you, but ultimately you could use whatever control system you desired. So I'm going to go ahead and kick that on, and what's going to happen now, it's going to provide more options for you, right? It wants to know what the IP address is of the processor, and then we have 2 ports that we communicate on. The first port is literally just for microphone control commands. So it will send commands like mic 1 on, mic 1 off, all mics on, stuff like that. And then we have a general commands port. The general commands port will send information across that kind of lets the AV system know what's happening in our meeting, right? Is the meeting started? Is it time to vote? Is there a vote that's done? Should we show voting results? Those types of things. Again, this is all completely customizable, so you can set the port numbers that you want, and then you can set the IP address. We have the ability to globally manage all this for all of our customers, so if you ever have issues, you can reach out to us and we can log in and see, oh, well, this port number is a little off versus what you told us is in your program or something like that. So those are the basic ones. Then we expand upon that even further and give you the ability to create custom buttons that appear in our web UI that you can utilize to do ultimately whatever you want. So if I click this second option, now you see here we have the ability to add our own buttons. Now, the reason that we built this in is so that you can give your end user more control capabilities, right? Perfect example of this is if it's a customer and they really, do everything in our software, but they have the need to switch what's on the monitors in the room, right? Maybe they want a laptop connection or a computer or a document camera. Well, by implementing the custom button features in our software, you can do that, right? So if I wanted this button to say laptop, and now the command that I enter can be whatever you want. And then when we get into the Crestron side of things, I'll show you where you can look for that. And so I'm just going to say vid laptop, right? Make it whatever I want. And then I'm going to say, okay, I want a document camera, and I'll say vid .cam. Okay. And so ultimately, what I've just done is I've created a new section that will appear in our software when they're running a meeting that will show them these 2 buttons. And so when they press those buttons, it's going to send that command to the control system so that you can do whatever you want, right? So if they hit vid laptop, then you can trigger the video switching in the Crestron system to show the laptop. And then I just hit save. And that's it. So now it saves all those settings and you're ready to go. Now you're ready to go into your Crestron system and configure it, or your Qsys or your Extron or your AMX, whatever it is you have, you're now ready to go into that. So now that we're finished with this part, let's go do that. Okay, so it's time for the Crestron side. So I have simple windows open here, and I have the module dropped into the program. Big thank you to Troy at TBD Enterprises for working with us. They're actually the ones who developed this module for us. So I chose them because I wanted someone that I had complete faith in that could do a killer job, and they have done that. So first thing you notice inside the module is you got your 2 ports down here at the bottom that you can set. You got your general commands port and your mic commands port. Those match up to the ports that you implemented in our software. There is a debug module available. I'm not going to showcase that in this one, but you can use it to figure out if you have any issues or any communication problems. Out of the box, these are the signals that you get, right? So you got a meeting started, a meeting ended, you got enable login, disable login, you got vote started, ended, cleared, timer, et cetera, et cetera. Enable and disable mics. What we see a lot of times with the enable disable mics is if the meeting space is used for other meetings besides ones that our software runs, what they'll do is when they run the software, they'll use the disable mics to make the buttons on the microphones not work, so that it is a true request to speak, right? If the people's mics don't turn on until they turn them on in our software, and then when they stop the meeting, then it re-enables all the microphones. Very easy to implement inside of Crestron. The other one you get is mics off, right? So what we see this utilized most is, so say they're on a topic and they're discussing the topic, they go into a vote, but like 3 people's mics are still on, right? What we saw in the early releases of our software is we would watch the person running the meeting like frantically going and turning everyone's mic off before they hit stop vote. So ultimately we just do it for them. So now when they hit end vote, it actually triggers this mics off to fire. So it will shut all the microphones off automatically so that the person running the meeting doesn't have to do that. The active timer, that is that serial string coming from the speaker timer, right? So that's your 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute countdown, whatever it is. That's the actual string representation of the time. We'll come back to custom buttons. And then here we have mic state, right? So in this example, there's 32 microphones in the room. And you can know the state of all 32 microphones, whether it needs to be on or it needs to be off. And it's literally just a feedback. So you can utilize that feedback to then go to your biamp or your Qsys or a relay box that's controlling your microphone. However you're controlling, and whatever microphone system you're controlling, you can just use these to control that. And it's all happening in our software just by pressing that person, turning it green, and then turning it off. It's all happening, and you just use it for whatever you need. So then we'll go back to the custom button. So in here, essentially what you can do, right, is I can go in here and I can just apply this here. So the beauty of this is it's really custom, right? So remember, we wanted a laptop. We had the laptop. Okay, let's trigger the laptop input. And then what else do we have? We had, let's see if I can remember, we had trigger doc cam input or something like that. I'm typing here, doc cam, right? There's those 2 custom buttons we made in the software that we can now go into Crestron, listen for them, and trigger whatever we want. So again, super simple to implement, right? Like there's not a lot of that goes into it. And you can do so much with it just by Crestron listening to your customer using our software, right? We've essentially turned our web cloud native software into a control surface for your AV system, which really makes it limitless, right? So now that we've gone into Crestron and we've put the module in, we've saw how easy that was. We'll go ahead and save this. You can compile it, put it onto your AV system, and then I'll show you a quick demonstration in AgendaLink Solo while you're running a meeting, how those commands and when those commands are getting sent. So let's go do that. Okay, so now that we have the Crestron configured and we have AgendaLink Solo configured, I'm going to show you in AgendaLink Solo really the power that you have just created. Right, so I'm in the meeting, it's started. On the right-hand side, you can see the Qs and the mics, right? So if I hit this person to turn their mic on, it goes green, and the Crestron system receives mic, whatever seat or mic that user is assigned to, and the word on. In the Crestron module, you saw it's literally just the feedback that you can then utilize to do whatever you want. If I click it, it turns it off. We also have a request to speak queue. So if someone throws themselves in the queue and the person running the meeting sees that, then they can go in, kick that person's microphone on, tells you they turn their mic on. Click it off, tells you they turn their mic off. Now the beauty of how that we implement all this with Crestron is you can do whatever you want, right? So you could have it do more than just turn the mic on and mic off. You could ultimately have it do whatever you need. Same type of controls here. So you see I'm on the speaker timer. So timer start, you get the timer start. You also get the timer that's on there, right? So you get that number that's counting down coming through that serial string that you can then use on whatever you want. You get the timer stop so you know it's done. A lot of times what we see with this is you can utilize, when you see 30 seconds left, you can use that to like play a chime or something. That's usually what we see implemented with it. So remember we had talked about the custom buttons, right? So when you enable custom button feature, it opens up this new option here at the bottom called AV controls. So when I click that, right there are the two custom buttons that you made in the options section, your laptop and your document camera. So now when I press these buttons, ultimately what's going to happen is it just sends that command out, right? Sends that command to the AV system. The AV system then can do whatever they want with it. Some of the other, to showcase some of the other features that are available, I'm just gonna jump to this topic, and I'm gonna go ahead and motion for some people. And now I have this start vote button. When I press that start vote button, that's what sends the signal to the AV system that, hey, a vote's been started. So you can use that to trigger certain things, right? The beauty of everything is it's customizable to your client's needs, right? You can start to develop a workflow for them that makes sense. Not every meeting and every city or entity goes the same. So you can ultimately choose the path that works best for them. So I can go in here and I'm just gonna manually vote for these people real quick. They can vote for themselves, so I'm just manually voting for them. And now I have my end vote button, right? So now when I hit end vote, now you're gonna get that signal in the AV system that says the vote's been ended. Let's go ahead and show the results, right? So now I do that. The person running the meeting sees the results, as well as you now get the signal to show that. And then you can use the live web UI of our software to showcase on the screens or to your broadcast or whatever you want. And then we have a timer built into our software. So you'll also get the signal that says, hey, the voting results have cleared from the live output. So now you can use that signal to go ahead and switch back to something else or do any kind of automatic things that you want for your customer. So as you can see here, there's a lot of power in what we're providing for AV dealers and system integrators. It's a much needed upgrade from the old proprietary systems. You can use our software with whatever hardware you want, obviously. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can just leave a comment below, subscribe. We'll be doing more videos like this about our software platform. to help educate the system integrators out there. And until next time, have a great day. Thanks, guys.